Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
Okay, our question for today is, what are the top 10 Big Ten games of 2021? And as we're recording this right now, we do not have a list for you, so we're going to craft it right in front of your eyes here, or in front of your ears, if you're listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, you're going to go first. And remember, you can pick a Big Ten game or just a game involving a Big Ten team. So non-conference is on the table.
Sure. All right. Well, I think this one was a relatively easy pick. I'm going Oregon at Ohio State.
I
got two top 10 teams. Yep, two top 10 teams going at it. Buckeyes are actually favored a pretty solid amount right now. I think it's around 9 or 10 early. But this game's huge. Playoff implications on the line. Huge for Oregon, of course. If they win, I mean, that sets them up for actual playoff run, which the Pac-12 desperately needs. It's been a while. And Big Ten, or for Ohio State, it's just like, hey, if they win this one, it's like, we're still the Buckeyes. We're still dominant, you know.
Yeah.
Look out, Big Ten. We're coming.
Yep, and a good first test for whoever their quarterback is. We think C.J. Stroud. But all right, Trey, you've got the second pick here, so number one's off the board.
Yep, that was an easy one. Number two, I'm also going to go non-conference.
Oregon, Ohio State. You're gonna take the same one.
Oregon, that's just
so good. You got to do it again.
Yeah, that's right. No, I'm going to go with Iowa at Iowa State. It's not only a big game just to see how good Iowa is early on in the season, because this is week 2 on September 11th, but they have a chance to knock off a playoff hopeful in Iowa State. It's a fun rivalry game that has had some exciting games recently. The way the schedule shakes out, I feel like it's almost a must-win for Iowa State, because if they want to make a run at the playoff. Otherwise, if they don't, they would have to be facing the daunting task of beating Oklahoma twice and going unbeaten the rest of the year. So
most likely,
Iowa's defense is supposed to be pretty good. They get to face guys like Brock Purdy, Breece Hall. That was my number 2 pick.
Yep, that was would have been my pick as well. So it seems like we got similar big boards so far. So I'm third here. It gets a little bit more difficult for me.
Yes.
I am going with I'm doubting myself already.
Yeah, you should have already known we were going to have those two. You should know.
I know, but now I'm looking at the list. I made this list yesterday, and now I'm looking at it, I'm like, what was he thinking yesterday?
Who was?
Oh, man. I'm going to go Washington at Michigan. Okay, Ryan.
No, that's he's lying. He's lying. That's a good game.
That's
I know.
Game. That was
this one is intriguing. It's week 2, so again, we're still getting into the season, getting excited. We're not going to know much about these two teams after week 1, and this is, of course, do or die for Jim Harbaugh this year. So every game is going to feel very, very important for Michigan, and so it'd be nice to get off to a nice start. We'll see, whoever the quarterback is for Michigan up against a good defense, so that'll be a nice test for Cade McNamara, Alan Bowman, J.J. McCarthy, whoever the starter is. And the point spread's going to be super close, so should be a close game.
Yeah, it's a night game, too. It'll be fun.
Ooh, yeah. Nice.
All right, so going to pick number 4 here for us. This one, it gets progressively harder. It does. I'm going to go week 3. We got Cincinnati at Indiana.
I was thinking about that for my third one.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
More intrigued
I wasn't that high, but that's good. It's a good game.
Well, just because this is, for Cincy, I mean, they got two massive games. Well, I mean, every game's massive for them, but, as far as big time teams, they play at Notre Dame and at Indiana. So both top 25 teams. For Cincy, it's a playoff elimination game. They have to go undefeated to have a shot. In Indiana, they have high aspirations as well this year as well too. So they would be obviously look a lot better for them if they could beat a top team like Cincy. That would go a long way for their power rankings as well. So that should be a good game. I
agree there, but I didn't have it that high. My pick here. So what are we at? The 5th pick.
Mm-hmm.
I am gonna go with. I wanted to go an early season game because I know it's important. Week 1. Penn State at Wisconsin. What a great game to start the season in conference. Both of them have a chance to win their divisions, and both are looking for bounce back years after kind of uncharacteristic down years a season ago. How does Graham Mertz look? Does Penn State, look? Does their offense bounce back? This game it's going to tell us a lot about both teams and how they might look the rest of the way. And given that Penn State has to deal with Ohio State, they would really be behind the 8 ball if they lost this first game.
That would be very deflating loss for Penn State for sure. In particular, I feel like both teams could bounce back, but I feel I would be more confident Wisconsin bouncing back because you don't have the Ohio State behemoth in your division.
Yep.
And then Penn State. Well, I'm not going to give away some of our other future games potentially.
That's right.
Okay, so I have the 6th pick here, and even though it's a big spread in this game, 12.5 right now, I'm still going to take it. Penn State at Ohio State. Yeah. They've had some amazing matchups over the years. Of course, Penn State's pulled off the upset before, so you never know. And even last year when Penn State was down, this was a great game. Penn State just hung in there enough to kind of keep it interesting. They never really threatened, but it was still fun. I remember Jahan Dotson had a couple amazing catches. So, it's just a great matchup.
I like that one. All right, I'm between 2 here. I'll go with week 4. I'll go with the Notre Dame versus Wisconsin in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't expect Notre Dame to be quite as good as they were last year. I don't think anybody does. But it's still a big matchup. It's having a Big Ten team, leading team in the Big Ten West, going up against Notre Dame. That should be a fun one to watch. So
Jack Cohn for Notre Dame going up against
Jack
his
Cohn
team.
versus his former team. Yep, see how that goes. So, yep.
I like that one. I'm between 2 as well, but at pick number 8, I'm gonna go with Auburn at Penn State. That's week 3. I'm not expecting a ton from Auburn this year, but it's a great classic team matchup. Good for them traveling, up to Happy Valley. We can see what Bo Nix can do. It's under the lights. They're getting a bonus whiteout game this year. They're doing 2 of them. That'll be awesome. And as we've kind of talked about before, we're going to learn a lot about Penn State in the first few weeks of the season, and this will be one of those tests.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Okay, my next pick here, I'm going to go with one of the best rivalries in college football, maybe the best, Ohio State at Michigan. And again, obviously Ohio State's going to be probably a huge favorite in this one, but at least the game being in Ann Arbor makes an upset a little bit more likely. And this could very well be for Jim Harbaugh's job here, because if they're sitting at 3 losses or so, maybe 4 by this time, that seems pretty likely. And a win could save his job for sure, but a loss could be the final nail in the coffin.
Yep. All right, so that means I got pick number 10. Last pick here.
You better get this
it's
right.
toughy. There's a few, definitely a few that I
will
could
say
go
there's these 9 that we've picked so far were all in my top 10. So let's see if
Same here.
My 10.
Yeah,
All right, my last one, which I'm going to go in conference matchup, was a great game last year. Indiana at Ohio State. Why are you looking at me so confused?
Is it at Ohio State this year?
Last year
is it the other way around? Did I miss?
Yeah, I think it's at Indiana.
Oh, they're even better.
It is at Indiana.
Even better.
Even better.
It is at Indiana.
Definitely. Well, yeah, just okay. So my bad for screwing up to where it was at.
That's
but I'm looking forward to the game, man. Because last year was awesome. Penix just lit them up. I mean, they just could not stop them, even though they lost. But it was a great game. Came down to the wire. So can Ohio State match that this year? Can they get better against the pass defense against Penix? I don't know, but that's a big one.
All right,
Michael, I'm guessing you and I had the same number 10 or the other.
Okay, what was it? Yeah.
Do you have Iowa, Wisconsin?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I had Nebraska at Oklahoma.
Nebraska OU.
I got stuck with all the blowouts here, but it's
it is 50-year anniversary.
50th anniversary of the game of the century, historic rivalry. The pageantry before the game's going to be great, and there's 2 great quarterbacks. Well, one great quarterback, Spencer Rattler, and one quarterback who can be exciting to watch in Adrian Martinez.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said Iowa.
No, I
Wisconsin.
considered that one, but
I said Iowa, Wisconsin just because there's so much on the line. It could they're the two favorites in the West. It could be the game that ends up deciding the West. So that was why I mentioned that game.
That's a good
late October.
Good choice. Yeah. I also had just sort of like honorable mentions here. Purdue at Notre Dame kind of intrigues me. I know I'm a big Purdue guy, but I could see them pulling off. I could
see that being a
upset.
good game. Yeah. We obviously favor non-conference just because it's more unique matchups. Like I think I picked all but one non-conference matchup, but you're just used to seeing the Big Ten games all the time. It's fun to see those Purdue and Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, all those Cincy, Indiana. So.
Okay, well, that'll do it for this episode of the College Football Bros. If you're listening to the podcast, we would really appreciate a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We'd like to. We've had a few, I guess, in the last couple of weeks, but we want more. We're very selfish. We want more.
Never enough.
We want adulation. We can't get enough of it. So tell us we're awesome. Give the video a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. We'd appreciate that.
That's how Michael gets his self-worth.
It is. I check those iTunes reviews every day, and I'm like, oh, didn't get one today. Well, it's going to be a bad day. But anyway, thanks, everyone, for watching our content, listening to it. We'll see you next time.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.